Have you ever looked around and thought, wait, how did I end up here? Not in a curious way, more like a gut punch kind of way, like you blinked and somehow stepped sideways and the blinders came off, and now you're in a version of your own life that you don't even recognize. Like you tried so hard to build something steady and still ended up somewhere you never meant to be. The job is different, the house, the relationships, maybe your body, your mind, and you wonder not just how you got here, but when did this happen? I thought my life would feel more certain by now. When I was younger, I had these ideas, goals, plans, versions of myself I fully believed I'd become. I thought at some point, maybe age 35, I'd have it all figured out. I'd arrive at some final version of myself, stable, settled, healed, done. I thought there'd be a moment when I'd feel finished, like I'd built the life I was meant to live, things would click into place, and I could finally just exist inside it. But the older I've got, the more I saw it didn't really work like that. Things can change so slowly, quietly, so quietly, we don't even notice it's happening. And then one day, we catch a glimpse of ourselves in a reflection we don't quite recognize. You're standing in a life that looks nothing like the one you planned, but it's still your life. I don't even remember how I used to think about some things. There are entire belief systems I've outgrown, but I can't tell you exactly when they fell away. It's like living in a house where the walls move while you sleep. When you wake up, everything is still vaguely familiar, but something is off. Weren't those beige walls once yellow? Was that chair always over there? You can't quite put your finger on it. When I was younger, no one warned me how temporary everything would feel. Or if they did, I certainly wasn't listening. How nothing is final, even when it looks like it is. You get married, maybe you get to buy that dream house, or at least a starter version of it. Maybe you have kids, maybe you stay fit and svelte, or maybe you lose your health. You build a routine, then it changes, and still, it all keeps shifting. I used to think things were permanent, that once a decision was made, it stayed made, that we'd live in the same house, be close with the same people, want the same things. But everything changed over and over again, and sometimes a voice inside me would say that meant I was doing something wrong. I thought certainty was the prize, that if I worked hard enough, chose wisely enough, I could make life predictable, safe, manageable. But life isn't a straight line. It's not a checklist or a recipe you can follow for Barb's perfect chocolate chip cookies that always turn out, well, perfect. Most of the time is just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks and learning slowly to live with the things that don't. And that's the part that's been hardest to make peace with, the fact that some things just don't work out. Not everything is a lesson. Not everything is a blessing in disguise. Some things are just hard. Some dreams just don't happen, and some parts of the plan fall apart. I don't think we talk about that enough, or maybe it's that we're not okay enough with it. That with everything that being human means, it also means carrying the weight for the lives we didn't get to live. The child you didn't have, the relationship that never healed, the career that never took off, the body that changed before you were ready, the person you used to be who doesn't quite fit anymore, or the version of yourself you'd thought you'd be by now that clearly is still eluding you. There's this ache that comes when you look back and see just how much didn't go the way you thought it would. For me, one of those things has been my eyesight. I have a genetic disease that causes insidious vision loss. It goes slowly over the course of a person's life. Things were okay when I was younger, but at around age 30, my eyesight started to decline, and with it, parts of my identity I didn't even know were tied to what I could see. At 40, I really started to struggle with driving and lost my license at 50. On bad days, I cry in frustration, trying to read simple things like prices at the grocery store, labels, things on my phone, and some days I get really pissed off, wearing magnifying glasses and using a magnifying glass at the same time, and then in 1 second flat, screw it, I quit. And on the worst, I reach for my secret stash of F words, the ones I only dole out very sparingly. Even if I've learned to live with it as much as I can, there's still that thread of grief that will always be woven into the acceptance. My vision will continue to decline, whether I like it or not. There is no cure, no treatment. And that's what this is about, really. Not rewriting it into some bright, hopeful reframe, but also not wallowing. Just naming what's true. Some things didn't work out, and we still wake up every day. We still brush our teeth, we still feed the dog, we still make coffee, we still show up, we still try to laugh, we move forward, not because it all makes sense, not because we've made peace with everything, but because the sun keeps coming up and we're still here. And that's the most honest thing I can say. We are still here, and as long as we are, we get to keep choosing what we do with what is. Not with what we wanted, not with what we planned, but also hopefully not entirely inside what we might have lost. Just what is. So yeah, some days can be hard, especially when you bash your head against the future you imagined that looks so much better than the one you're living now. When you follow the steps, you did everything right, tried to control every outcome, and still ended up somewhere you didn't even recognize. And the mind loves to replay it all, and it should all over you. What you should have done, what you should have known. You should have had a crystal ball. You should have seen it coming. But life isn't lived in hindsight. It's lived in the middle of uncertainty. It's the mess and the missteps and the things that were supposed to be different but aren't. So how do you move forward with the regret when the story didn't go the way you'd hoped? You move gently. You stop trying to tidy it all up with slogans and mantras. You stop searching for meaning in every ache, and you just live. Like the lyrics in a song I love, life's what you make it. You let it be disappointing, and you look for the beauty as well, because it's always there. And you let the grief and the gratitude sit beside each other. You let your past exist without letting it also be your entire future. The past will eat you alive if you let it, so don't. You stop trying to make it all make sense, and instead, you learn how to be okay. Not the version you rehearsed, not the ending you wrote in your head, the order you carefully clicked buy now on, hoping it would arrive on time. But this life, the one that keeps unfolding, the one that keeps asking you to keep waking up, the one that says, this is what we have to work with. What do you want to do with it? I wrote this script almost 3 months ago now, and I never published it. Today was the day. Boy, did I need to hear this.